Today's Tanya is Yud Iyar. So Yud Iyar, first of all, we have preparation to Yud Dalid. You're comfortable? Yeah. The preparation to Yud Dalid. Yud Dalid is, Rabbi Shmuel Eliyahu was in the AQM for Mincha Marav Shabbos, so he said that it's also the Yartzeit of Yehuda Bar Eloi, the Yartzeit of Meir Balanes, and Rabbi Yehuda Bar Eloi is Yud. And the Tanya of today is, Yud Dalid, Pesach Sheni is these tzaddikim, and today's Tanya is Yud. So today's Tanya is kind of a continuation of yesterday's Tanya, but a little bit more in detail, because yesterday we spoke about somebody who, let's say, is feeling very low, and we said that basically love is a reflection. So if I love you, you'll feel that love. It's a very interesting thing. I remember I used to drop my little daughter off in preschool every day, and so she, sometimes you go into whatever, sometimes you're in a good mood and you're open. We all experience this, and then everybody else is open. It's a very interesting thing, because what we don't realize is that the world is really our own reflection. People live in very, very different realities. Some people live in a reality where the world is cold and heartless, and other people live in a reality where, like, everyone's wonderful and everyone's beautiful. It's very, very interesting, because we're actually all kind of creating our own reaction system. Because generally speaking, most people, unless somebody's very like narcissistic and unhealthy, where they think that they're the whole world and everybody needs to react to them, but most people are the other way around, where they look with respect at other people. So everybody is kind of giving the other person space, and then most people are just reacting to the person that's coming into the room. And that's what we see. Said this earlier today, but with little children even, excuse me, it's spider. With little children, what happens is a little child could come into a room, and everybody suddenly so happy, and literally depending on how happy the kid is, just a little kid, the kid can do nothing for you. But like even in the AQM, there's this little kid, and he's so smiley, he goes to everybody and he runs over, he says hello, and everybody's so happy to see him. So love is like mama shamir, like the face you put in the mirror is the face that comes back. So when we think about how much Hashem loves us, and particularly when we think about how great is the lover, and on the other hand, how low is the one that's loved, so that it intensifies the feeling of love. An example, like we said yesterday, is that the guy's literally, a drug addict, and he's sitting in the garbage dump, and the King of Kings comes and he says, listen, I love you so much, and he takes him into his palace, and he hugs him and he kisses him. And today the Alter Rebbe goes into more detail. First of all, the example is that the Yidden were in Mitzrayim, and we're like at the lowest level, and Hashem comes into the Klippa, and the most debased country, and he comes with all the holy malachim, and he saves us, and Ivalei Malach, and Ivalei Acher, Hashem himself. And then he gives us this concept of a hug and a kiss. So what is a spiritual hug and a kiss? You all know the famous story that the Rebbe Rashab wanted to give the Frierdiker Rebbe a kiss when he was in his little pram as a child, a little bassinet, and he exchanged it with a chsidish kush. Right? So many years later he gave him a mimer. I think he wrote a mimer, he gave him the mimer. He says that's a chsidish kush. So the point is that that when we study Torah, that's a kiss. Why is it a kiss? Because as Alter Rebbe says in many places, Torah is the highest level of communion with Hashem, because when you're studying Torah, Hashem is within Hashem is within His reality. So we took a little break, excuse us. So we're discussing the idea of that when the connection between the lover and the beloved is very distant, so then the love is so much stronger. So when a person goes into an environment and they're positive, it creates positivity, particularly if somebody knows that they're nothing and the person that's coming is so great. Oh, we're speaking about that Hashem basically in the Torah is like the mind of Hashem. So when we're studying Torah, it's literally Hashem and my mind are one. Like the Alter Rebbe says, there's no greater union. In fact, the Rebbe speaks about a greater union, that it's almost like within the heart, that Hashem is one within within your very soul. But anyway, in any event, Alter Rebbe from the Tanya speaks about there's no greater union than this union of Hashem in your mind, and that's like a kiss. And then there's the union of a hug. Hug is you have a right hand, a left hand, and a body that hugs, and that represents the right hand is chesed and the left hand is gvura, and all the mitzvahs are chesed and gvura, what we can do, what we can't do, and then the hug itself. So when a Jew does Torah mitzvahs, it's literally like a hug from Hashem. When a Jew studies Torah, it's literally like a kiss of Hashem. It's like that. What's a kiss ultimately? It's this intimate union. And as I've said before, that real unity and real intimacy is not in speech, it's in silence. It's just in feeling the other person. I just heard this kind of class by, what's her name? Her name is Chayela. She used to be Kesman, and she said a very, very good vart. I never heard this vart before, but I thought it was very good. She described das as intimacy. I thought that was a tremendous description, because it's like an intimate knowledge. It's like a knowledge that goes beyond knowledge. What's conscious in your brain is already not. It's not like intimate with you. It's like something you know. It's like you read a book and you know it. But something that's intimate is something that you like. It's one with you. You feel it. Right. Adam Yada Aschava. So that's the idea of, and it's such an important thing, because I was listening while we're speaking about it. I was listening to a lecture yesterday by Rivka Slonim, two holy righteous women. So she was saying this thing. She wrote a book. I don't really know the title of the book, but it was something about intimacy. And the first thing that she said was very, very profound. Says that number one, we have to know what we're talking about. Says that when a person looks at intimacy from a physical, then it takes away what intimacy is. Intimacy is really a spiritual thing. It's a connection, basically. And so when a person looks at things from the perspective of kedusha, of holiness, it's always about connection. Whether it's a connection to Hashem, or connection to another human being, and even a connection to your own body. That I have a soul and I have a body, and we're here for a purpose. The physical is always about consumption. And consumption is the ego. It's not a holy thing. But connection, which always respects the other person, then and I think that just having this concept in mind, the difference between connection and consumption, is a very, very powerful idea. Words are very, very powerful, because if you can actually summarize, like this idea of intimacy, if you could summarize a concept with the right word, it's very, very powerful, because now you know what you're talking about. Otherwise, it's just this concept. You could talk about it for decades. You still don't even know what's going on. But if you have the right word that summarizes that concept, it's very powerful. So, shekayach to all the righteous women, the Mashiach Bia, where they'll all be revealed for their righteousness. Chayim v'bracha.